Today, Wednesday, the 30th of October 2024, we have some hand-picked match predictions to share with you, which will be backed up by some stats and analytics to help you make your picks in this list to boost your winning by a greater percent. And to those of you who want to access our top 10 and top 15 game predictions, which we share to members only, you want to make sure that you join the Level 2 Pro membership package plan to start to have access to all our game predictions, which we share to members only to take your winning to the next level. We share games based on huge odds and as well as high win rate. You want to make sure that you take advantage of this, becoming a member of the Level 2 Pro plan to start to have game prediction we share to members only, especially our upcoming weekend match prediction, which is upcoming. We are preparing a very huge and long list of huge odds Friday, Saturday, and as well as Sunday. You want to make sure to take advantage of this. To those of you who are interested to join, the link is below this video. You can click on it, navigate and join to start to take advantage of all of these features. So without wasting time, I'm going to begin with the first match pick of today's list. Looking at the first event, we are looking at EFL Cup, the match between Preston against Arsenal. Looking at this, the recent performance of Preston, you can see that they are good at scoring 3, 2, and 1 based on recent events. But Preston mostly had events in the champion, that is England Championship. But looking at Arsenal, on the other hand, they are also good and they mostly played in the Premier League, that is in the England Premier League, and they have had events in the Champions League against Shakhtar Donetsk, and they had lead. Looking at recent performance of Arsenal based on the way, you're going to see that based on every check-in, Arsenal is better, for they have had games with very strong teams like Atalanta recently in the Champions League, as well as they have had game recently against Man City and they had draw 2-2. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at two major picks in this event in full time. For this tournament, the recent performance of Arsenal, which is team in the Premier League of England, have performed greatly. A performance in the Premier League and also with major teams like Atalanta, especially in the Champions League and also against Shakhtar Donetsk, have proved that they can take the lead in this match. Since this is an EFL Cup, of course, Arsenal will perform greatly. We want to look at Arsenal to lead since the home team is mostly from the England Championship and has had events mostly with teams of that rank. But Arsenal, on the other hand, is very strong and being from the Premier League and have had major gameplay, especially in the Champions League as well. We are looking at Arsenal to lead this match in full time as one of the major pick, as well as we want to look at the possibility of at least 1.5 goal in this event in full time or 2 goals over. Looking at the next, we're looking at Netherlands Cup, a match between Genemuden against William II. Looking at this, the home team proved to be very conceding. They concede a lot of goals, between 3 to 4 goals per each event. The opponent, on the other hand, proved to be better and they have had games, especially in the Eredivisie, and also they have had games in the club friendly recently where the performance was very great. But looking at that of the home, they play mostly in the DD Divisie, which is a very weak, that is, games of this particular league is not as strong as compared to that of William, which is having event, especially in the Eredivisie, where stronger teams have been found. And looking at the performance of William recently, they proved to be better as compared to Genuden, based on recent event they have had. And looking at everything in place, we are looking at two major picks here in full time. For this tournament, of course, William, which is the away team, have proved to be better. And being the fact that they mostly played in the Eredivisie, teams here are stronger as compared to DD Divisie for that of the home. Therefore, we want to look at the team from Eredivisie, which is William, to lead this match in full time. And since they have mostly had events with stronger teams, they are going to try to lead this match since it is this particular tournament of this cup. So we are looking at William to lead. We also want to look at least 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time. The next, we are looking at England in the EFL Cup, but this time Tottenham against Man City. Looking at this, these are two teams whose performance, especially in the Premier League, have proved to be good. Man City also, on the other hand, is also a very good team. They have mostly had events in the Champions League as well as in the Premier League of England, and that of the home team, which is Tottenham, have mostly also had events in the Premier League and also in the Europa League where they perform good. And looking at this, they are coming to meet in the 1/8 round of this tournament in the EFL Cup we're looking at two major picks here in full time. For this particular event, of course, both of the two sides are two amazing teams. And since their performance recently have proved that they are good and the goal scoring capacity is also great, therefore, of course, these two want to perform. And since they are coming for this tournament, both of the two sides want to impress. So we are looking at least 1.5 goal in this event in full time or 2 goals over, since both sides will impress and both impression from both sides will cause more goals to occur. So goals probability at least 1.5 or 2 goals over is our major pick. Looking at the next, we are looking at Germany in the cup. That is a match between Mainz against Bayern Munich. The performance of the home team Mainz have proved to be more conceding based on recent events they have had. But Bayern Munich, on the other hand, is a more offensive team based on recent events they have had. They mostly had game in the Champions League, as you can see, against Barcelona and also in the Bundesliga itself. But that of Mainz, which is the home, have mostly had events in the Bundesliga. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at two major picks here in full time. For this tournament, of course, Bayern Munich, which is the away team, proved to be good and the offensive power is great. And since they have had games mostly the Bundesliga itself and recent gameplay they have had in the Champions League, of course, both of the two sides want to impress. So want to look at least 1.5 goal here in full time or 2 goals over. Looking at the next, we're looking at Greece Cup, a match between Egalio against PAOK. Looking at this, the home team mostly had events, especially in the Super League 2 of Greece, which is a lesser team as compared to PAOK, which mostly played in the Super League. This is two different teams. The that of PAOK is that of great strength for its performance in the Europa League and also in the Greece Super League have proved to be very great. But that of its opponent played in the lesser league, that is in the Super League 2, and looking at the performance of PAOK based on recent events they have had, as we can see here, they are more offensive. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at two major picks in full time. For this tournament, of course, PAOK is from the Super League of Greece, but that of the home team is from a lesser league. Looking at this, the performance of PAOK have proved to be great, and since its offense is greater based on the recent performance they have had, it is going to take advantage of the lesser team of the home. Therefore, we want to look at PAOK to lead in full time, as well as the probability of at least 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time. Looking at the next, we're looking at Portugal in the League Cup, the match between Benfica against Santa Clara. Looking at the performance of Benfica recently, they have proved to be good, and they've mostly had games in the Portugal Premier League itself, where they play against Real Aves, and they've also had games, especially in the Champions League, against Atletico de Madrid and also against Feyenoord, which performance was good. But looking at that of its opponent, you're going to see that they have mostly had games, especially in the Taça de Portugal, that is in the Cup, and the performance was not as amazing as compared to that of Benfica. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at two major picks in full time. For this particular event, since Benfica have proved to be better in terms of recent event they have had, looking at the fact that they have had games in the Champions League performance, which was very great as compared to that of its opponent, we still want to look at Benfica to bring that form in this cup, taking at the fact that Benfica is to lead this match. So therefore, we want to look at Benfica to lead in full time, as well as the probability of at least 1.5 goal in full time or 2 goals at least in this match in full time. Looking at the next, we are looking at Scotland in the Premiership, Celtic against Dundee. The performance of Celtic recently have proved to be good, and they've had games in the Premier League of this particular tournament and also in the Champions League, whose performance was good, especially against Atalanta. And of course, its opponent, on the other hand, has mostly had events, especially in the Premier League and also in the League Cup. Looking at everything in place, this is the 10th round of this tournament. And looking at the form of this comparison, Celtic have proved to be better. Sitting on the first place, they've had 5 events recently, 4 wins, scoring 15 goals and conceding 3. But that of its opponent, on the other hand, proved to be more conceding. Sitting on the 11th position, they've had 5 events, winning just 1, scoring 5 goals and conceding 9. And looking at everything in place, want to look at two major picks here in full time. For this particular tournament, of course, Celtic have proved to be more offensive and more defensive. And looking at the recent game they have had, the performance of Celtic have proved that they are great. But that of its opponent, on the other hand, the defense is not very strong, and therefore Celtic want to take advantage of the weak defense of the opponent to try to lead this match in full time, or giving it a double chance, or just looking at least the probability of 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time. And to those of you who want to access our top 10 or top 15 game predictions, which we have just recently shared to members only, then you want to make sure that you become a member of the Level 2 Pro plan. The link is below this video. Click on it, navigate and join as a member and start to have access to members only videos and match prediction picks to take your winning to the next level. Good luck and see you again in the next upload, and bye bye for now.